finally I'm back, and I haven't done a video for a while, I know that, and I have already explained as to why. And to be honest with you, it's going to be very hard for me to deliver a lot of videos here going forward, at least for a few weeks, just while I get settled into my new full-time position. But I thought I'd do a shorter video here and continue on with RxJS and observables and the methods that we have. Now, I was going to pick 25 of them and just do it all in one video, but I just thought instead of doing that, I would actually pick probably about, how many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got 11 just to start off with. And the next one I might do 14, and then I'll show you basically, or 14. Maybe I'll do this over 3 parts. I don't know. I'd like to get about 30 or 40 methods out of the 100. I know I did say I was only going to do a quarter, but when I started going through them, I realized that there's probably a little bit more than 25 important ones there that you need to be aware of. So I thought I'd start with 11 because it's easier to indulge a smaller number. So let's get started. So what I've done is I've created ahead of time a component, and the component has a whole bunch of commented out code in which each line of code here will explain a scenario to do with an observable method. And at the bottom of this file, I've added a method called setCurrentCursorPosition, and the reason for this is because it's going to look at mouse events in this logic, and it's going to print out the current position. And you'll understand why when I get to the observables I actually use it. And in the HTML markup, all I've done is I've created a bunch of flags, and I've passed in the method, and then when that flag is set to true, we show the result. Okay. And all the flags are at the top here. So we've got flag, 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 flag with the results next to it. And then above that, I've imported all the, I don't need that one for now. I've imported all the observable operators that we'll need for this particular video. In fact, there might be a few more in here that we need. I'm pretty sure we don't need that one. But the others should be okay. In fact, there's more than 11 here. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But these last 3 I won't be explaining in this particular video. They're just helpers to help me get to address the other ones above it, okay? So let's get started. So the first one I'm going to look at is a method on an observable called Audit Time. And what this basically does, if you look at the code, whoops, not that line, this line here. At the moment, I am registering an observable for an event, right? So on the document, whenever I click anywhere in the document, we're going to start generating a stream of events, okay? What Audit Time does is it will show within a second the latest event that occurred from clicking on the screen. So if I click like 3 times on the screen, within a second, the third click will be shown on the screen. Basically, information regarding that click. So as I said, I have this set current cursor position as text, which basically prints out where we are. Okay, so let's have a quick look at that, and I'll come over. And this is the Audit Time method. Now I haven't clicked anywhere on the screen yet. If I go, let's go click right next to the 1 here. And then wait a second, you can see it actually comes up now. It says mouse position is now at 51740. Now this continuously goes, so if I click over here again, after a second it will update, and now it's 556515. If I go to the very top corner, it'll be close to 0, 2, 1, you know, and so on and so forth. And if I click anywhere else, it'll just continue to update after a second, alright? If I click multiple times, it will only ever detect the very last one and show that, okay, within that second. And that's pretty much all you really need to know. So this might be used for if you want to spit out, you know, maybe some, after a second, what somebody's doing, you know, maybe you want to do a situation where you only find the click reliable if it's being clicked and then nobody's done an action on it after that within a second. You may want to then operate based on that click. I don't know. But it's one of the methods that's there, and I thought it would be a handy one for you guys to know. So I'm just going to comment this again. Comment this out. Now the next one is referred to as a buffer method, and essentially what this does is that I've got a timer running, so it just continues to tick and tick and tick and tick, right? And it won't stop until I actually click somewhere in the document, right? So that's what this buffer method is doing. It's saying continue to buffer on this interval and stop once this observable has been met, which happens to be a click on the document. Okay, so let's go and have a quick look at that, and you can see I've subscribed to it. Come over and refresh. In fact, it doesn't show the number here, but as soon as I click, you'll see the numbers show up. If I wait a little bit longer, you'll see a list of numbers that are longer from 5 up to something else. And there they are. And the next one will be from 15 to something else. And based on the delay of my click, it will increase in numbers. So basically, it's a buffering up a stream, okay, until I actually perform action. So think of this as, you know, I don't know, like a factory, and you're shoving things into a machine, and it may get about 10 or 20 in there before somebody decides to act on them and pull them all out at once. Now, that's a lot there, you can see. But if I continue to click, you'll see there's 3 of them, and there's only 2 because I was faster. And then if I'm faster again, you can see that there's either none or 1, depending on how quickly I click. And so on and so forth. So that's the buffer method, and that can be handy from time to time if you need to process at a later date and you don't wish to process every second that it's executing. Next one, this is a small one. This is a catch. You should have already seen this one, honestly, in the examples when I was looking at the HTTP web server, and I had a catch. So what this one does is it throws an error, and because it throws an error, it's just proving that when I catch it, I'm going to show the values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the screen, right? Because the subscriber goes and reads this information out and puts it in here. Okay, so let's have a look at that. And you can see it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And that only works because we threw an error and we caught it. So this is disregarded and this is caught. If we didn't have this catch here, what would happen is we would get the throw, this value method would never execute, and we would have to handle the error function in the subscription. So that's that one. Pretty straightforward. I haven't shown it yet, have I? Oh yes, I did show it. Next one, show concat. Very similar to the one in the previous video. Basically, we concatenate 2 things together. So we've got the first list, which has 70, 72, 76, blah, blah, blah. We have the second list with more numbers. And then basically we're concatenating the second one into the first one. So it's like one big long stream. So it's very similar to observable.concat, but except for observable.concat, we pass in both observables. Here we just use one of the observables and we're concatenating the values in another observable to the very end, okay? Which gives us an output that's also observable, and then we can subscribe to that. So what we should get is 70 to 75, and then after that 44 to 10. So let's have a look at that. And that's what we get, 70 to 75, and then 44 to 10. Okay, all in one big stream. So that's what concatenating can do for us. Next one. Now this exercise took me ages to do. Well, not ages, but you know, there's a lot of writing I had to, a lot of typing I had to do. But it's only going to be very short, to be honest with you. This one's a count. So what I'm doing here is I'm using an interval to tick over the number of seconds, right? And then on the same observable, I'm using this thing called take until. Now, I'm not going to explain too much in this video what this is, but basically, from a very simple level, it'll continue to take the seconds here until I do something, which is I've clicked on the page. So this one will display the value or the count after I've clicked on the screen. After I've clicked on the screen. So it won't show anything until I've clicked. So let's have a look. Refresh. And in fact, no, it's the other way around. It will continue to count until I click. Let's just have a quick look at that again. Oh yeah, count is seconds past, and we'll continue on until we click. Yeah, so this count just continues to increase because it's an interval in this situation. Okay, we're just saying that we're going to continue to show count until we do something. In fact, this is not actually using the count method. I just realized that right now. Interesting. What we should be monitoring. Well, technically it is counting, but it's not using the count method. So var another count equals count like so, and then we should be subscribing to that. I think this should work. Oops. So now it shows nothing until I click, and then it says you can see you've done 4. If I refresh, and then I let it go for a little while, and then I click, it'll say I've done 6 events. Whereas before, silly me was showing the count or the current interval value until something's clicked, but I actually wanted to see the actual count as after it was clicked. That's what I was trying to achieve there. So just a slight little bug in my logic, but hopefully you can understand what this is now. So this is literally how many things or how many stream elements are inside of this observable that have not been handled yet. And then once I click, the stream is counted and shown on the screen. So that's that one. Save. Debounce time. This is an interesting one. So what debouncing really is that it will show the very last value if nothing has come after it within a time period. So, for example, just say you've clicked, in this case because we're using click events, if I click like 3 times in a second, right, the last one, if I don't click again for later than a second, it will show me the last result. If I continue to click like really, really fast, nothing will ever get shown. Okay, it'll just continue to be blank. But as soon as I let go or I stop clicking for longer than a second, the current value of the click will be shown on the screen. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So at the moment, we've got nothing because I haven't clicked anywhere. Now if I go click really fast, and then I wait a little bit, then I get 136 by 176. If I come over here and I just keep clicking, nothing changes. Alright. I stop for a second, it updates. Alright, it doesn't update if I'm moving the cursor, it's only on click. If I come down here and click really fast again, nothing is updating. As soon as I go, wait a second, it updates. So that's what debouncing is, and debounce time is the most common one. Now, for the ones I've mentioned so far, Buffer has about 6 different versions of it. Audit has 1 extra version of it. Concat has a couple of versions, and the Debounce has another version of it, which is essentially the same as debounce time, except that you pass in another observable that dictates the length of time, whereas in this one we're just passing in the time here straight out, and then so we're saying definitely after a second, Whereas with just the bounce, you also pass in an observable that returns a value that's a time in milliseconds. So that observable might return 1 second, 2 seconds, 15 seconds. It's not determined at that point, okay? Anyway, Debounce time is the one you'll generally use if you just want to delay, or you want to make sure that things are only passed down the pipe after it's been after a second. You know, nothing's happened within a second. So there's that one. Show default if empty. This one is interesting. So for this one, I've done very similar to the count one, I believe, where I've got a click event and I'm just clicking until 5 seconds is up, right? However, what I've done after this is just say, for example, that we get to 5 seconds and nothing was ever clicked, right? Then we have a default value if the stream is empty, which means it will return a value of no clicks, right? Because we never clicked it within 5 seconds. And then during the subscription, I'm just ensuring that if the value is equal to no clicks, then we just show no clicks. Otherwise, we're going to set the positioning, okay? And this only really happens once, as you'll see. Once I do it once, it really can't change after that. It can never be no clicks after the first click that I do. Let's have a look at this. So after 5 seconds, it says no clicks. I click now and nothing ever changes, right? Because we've passed that 5 seconds. So this just lasts 5 seconds. If I come in, refresh, and now I click, instantly I'm getting clicks now for 5 seconds, and then there's no interactivity, right? As soon as I get to the 5 seconds, that thing no longer applies. It'll just get your final result and spit that out, and then any subsequent click after that doesn't register. And if I don't click at all, then we're handling the default if the stream is empty, which happens to be a value of no clicks. Okay, straightforward, not that hard. Next one, oops. Delay. Now, there's a couple options with delay, which I'm going to show both. First one is just milliseconds. So what this does is we've got a click event. So I'm going to click on the screen, and basically the subscription down here will not be applied until after we've been delayed for at least 1,000 milliseconds after the click took place. So if I click, it will wait 1,000 seconds, and then it will start performing the action on that element, okay? So it's just a slight delay. It could be for an animation purpose or whatever, okay? But this is just another way of delaying what happens when you pick up an element in the sequence. So let's take a quick look at this one. So I click, I wait a second, it now pops up. I click, I wait a millisecond, and now pops up. Not a millisecond, a second. Click, wait a second, click, wait a second, click, because there's a delay every time I do this. And I can do them fast as well, and it'll still delay a second after each click. So that's that. That's for the millisecond one. And the other one you can do, which, to be honest with you, I don't think I would do it very often, and I wouldn't really recommend it, is you can set an actual explicit date here. Now this date's in the past, so I'm going to come in, and you might have to do this if you check out my code too. You'll have to update the date here. So currently it's Sunday the 19th of Feb. You can see what time I checked this earlier. It was at 1 o'clock. It's now 7 o'clock. So we'll put this at 1948 and 38 seconds. So I'll save that. We'll come over. I'll do a click here, and you can see nothing happens. But I'll come up here and I'll open up the date. And currently we're on 7:47. and 51 seconds. We need 7:48 and 38 seconds, I believe. Yeah, 7:48 and 38 seconds. So when it comes around, and this may not be explicitly on the 38 because it's all to do with the clock in your browser versus the clock on your machine. They are a little bit different. For mine, it was out by a few seconds. So when it comes around to near 38, you should start to see something appear here very shortly after. Because I've done that click. So now that I've done that click, it's already registered an event. The event is sitting there waiting to be processed by your subscription, but your subscription's been delayed until this time. So now it's coming through, it's no longer delayed, and there it is. Okay? Cool. So that one is an interesting one, but it's on dates, so not something I would recommend to use, but I wanted to show it because it's part of the delay method. Another one, distinct. Now distinct is also very interesting. You can have distinctive numbers. So I've got here 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 5, 7. So what do you expect to happen? Well, if you understand what distinct means, it means it's going to basically return, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 6. It's not going to return duplicates. It's just going to return one version of that number. So we should get pretty much 1 to 8, but with the 4 at the end. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, 4. It'll be something like that. So let's go back over and whoops. Interesting. I should not have had that like that. Back over and let that run. See, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, 4. That's what I expected. Right. The second one, so the one below this, is using objects in your design. So if I come down, I've actually written this twice. Interesting. That's why that's weird. But this one, I'm passing in observable of and then objects. Now this one's distinct on the basis that the first name of the first element and the last element are the same. Alright? So the selector I'm passing in here is I'm saying get me all the distinct objects where the name is different. Essentially, the p dot first name has to be different. So let's have a look at this. And you can see first name Daryl, ID 1, first name Terry, ID 2. It didn't pick up first name Daryl, ID 3 because there's already a Daryl. He was registered at number 1. Okay, so it only showed 2 of the 3, which makes sense. So that's that. And there are tons of these methods. I mean, tons. The the RxJX guys have done a really good job of creating a lot of these methods so that you don't have to do them in your code. So this one is show do. Is do. And what do does is whenever an event happens, you can do something before you send it back to the person. So you can modify what comes back. It's kind of similar to map, except that it doesn't actually change anything, I don't think. It just allows you to perform an operation on it. So in this case, I've done a log. So I'm doing a log of the event that was clicked, and then I'm mapping it to a mouse event object. Alright, and this map I'll explain in a later video. But basically I'm logging it, then I'm creating it as a mouse event, and then basically I'm showing the position as text on the screen. So if I come back over, so the do method, if I click, and so I'll show the console right now. Oops, what happened there? So there's the console. If I click somewhere, you've got mouse position is at blah, and then down here I've logged out the mouse event. You'll see I've got the screen X, screen Y. That's not what I'm populating, but the client X and the client Y are shown, and you can see they're here as well. So it's kind of like, just say, for example, you wanted to make a HTTP request, and you wanted to log what kind of request was being made, or what kind of response was being made from that request. you can do that as part of the do, right? So we could, before we return the information, we're going to log it out to some kind of logging environment, not console.log, but something else. Then we will give the result back to the user, because we've already we've inspected it, we've logged it, and now we're going to just give it to the user. Okay, that's essentially what do is. It's kind of doing last minute things before you give it back. And the very last one, which I have for this video, is element at, and it's pretty straightforward what it is. Basically, if you have a click event and you do like 2 or more clicks, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clicks or something, it'll just grab the second element. So the second click that I ever do, it'll just grab that one and show that. If I click only once, it'll show nothing. If I click the second time, it will show that click information. If I click it 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 50th time, it's not going to change anything. It literally means only get me the second one that's ever published to this particular observable. Only ever the second one. Nothing more, nothing less. So let's have a look at that one. So we come in, we've got element at. So I click once, nothing happens because we're only on one click. I click the second time, and that should have done something. Why did it happen the third time? Oh, sorry. My bad. Element at, this is index 2, so it's actually the third element. My bad. So this is the third element, not the second element. So that's why I showed up the third time. So if I come in again and I go, first element, nothing. Second element, well, that's index 1. Third element, index 2. That shows this information. If I click now, if I continue to click, nothing ever changes. Because we've already fetched the third element in the queue at index 2. So you can do this forever, and it's never going to do anything because the observable is officially done. It's no longer watching. Alright? And that's it for this video. I'm sorry it's a short one, and I'm sorry it's taken me a while to get these out. But yeah, I've been very busy with other things, and I'll continue to try and get these videos out as much as I can. But it's going to be a little bit harder for a while. Anyway, you guys probably don't care too much about that, so you just want the Angular 2 videos. I hear them. I want my Angular 2 videos. A lot of you guys reach out to me, and it's cool as it is. I think you guys just need to understand a little bit. I do have a normal life, and I do have a full-time job. Now, I hopefully don't have to do that forever. I'd love to teach like this full-time, because it gives you guys, it makes me feel good that you guys appreciate it. So I'd love to do more of this. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I've got to basically get ready for work tomorrow, and I'll publish this for you guys. So I'll see you all in the next video, which will be a continuation of these events, where I'll probably put in another 10 to 15, and then I might do one more after that before moving on to showing how to build subscription classes and that kind of stuff, and then we'll move on to directives and all those other bits that are kind of left over. So thank you everybody for listening, and I'll catch you in the next vid. Bye for now.